So, Bel, why don't I hand the reins over to you for the Sounders segment?
All right, let's do it. Which, again, the Sounders are also not in season, but we still have a tidbit of news, and that is team news. So on the 15th, the club exercised the 2023 contract option of Sam Adeniran. Can you say that for me?
Adeniran.
There we go. I didn't want to butcher it. Thank you. Adeniran led SAFC with 12 goals in 24 appearances, including the postseason, most recently scoring the game-winning strike in Sunday's 3-1 win over Louisville City in the USL Championship final. And also on the 15th, the club declines the contract option for Fredy Montero. The veteran remains in active discussions with the club, and Seattle's roster now sits at 25 contracted players heading into next season.
Kind of an interesting sort of two moves there. I know that was the plan with Adeniran, was that earlier in this past MLS season, the level of competition for him on the Defiance was low. The Seattle Sounders thought, hey, you're doing a little bit too well. We're going to send you to San Antonio. He helps them reach that championship final. And they say, okay, we saw enough. We'll bring it back. So he'll probably feature a good bit on the main roster this upcoming season. The declining of the contract auction with Montero, I know that some people see that decline part. They're all, whoa.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's more of a just figuring out money-wise, and maybe I know that the Sounders, they let Will Bruin walk, and they're talking about getting a backup striker. So I'm wondering how much of it is, hey, let you guys figure out what you're going to get, and then maybe I'll make my move after that. So I don't know. Interesting to see kind of the youth in Adeniran and a guy like Fredy Montero, who's been around in different stints with this club, the two contrasting moves there. But with that, talking about the offseason, I don't know how well it's going to be able to see there. But the Armory is having World Cup watch parties. There was that one earlier today. I'll do it again. Handing out these little towels here. Hey, they got the space. That's what that was. I only looked at it really quickly. But so the Armory's having watch parties. They had one today for U.S. versus Wales. It was packed. I didn't expect it to be packed on a Monday, but lo and behold, a bunch of people brought laptops. So I'm sure people were doing virtual work.
Awesome.
The next one will be on Friday, and then which is actually against England, which is a big deal. And then the next one will be Tuesday. And unfortunately, I won't be able to make any of those. So I'm hoping that they're able to make it out of the group stage. And hopefully there will be more of these watch parties. I know that Jordan Morris was able to make it in for some minutes and got subbed on in the 88th minute for Tim Weah, who actually scored the only goal for Team USA. Had a draw, unfortunately gave up an 82nd minute penalty to Gareth Bale. It's a good showing. I mean, they had a good first half. Tim Weah actually becomes the first person to score a goal against Wales in the World Cup since Pele. It's a long time. But no, knowing that I'll put this up on the screen here. There are 4 Sounders players who are playing in the World Cup. Jordan Morris and Cristian Roldan, obviously, on the U.S. team. Javier Arriaga helped Ecuador beat Iran, host country Iran, yesterday on Sunday. So good for him. Good to see that. Iran actually became the first host country to lose their opening game, which
that's not a good stat.
Good to take a look there. We'll try to keep as much as we can with the statistics and how our Sounders do in the World Cup. So that'll be interesting to know. I know there's a lot of controversy around that, and there's some notes that we'll look at. I know that a journalist actually was held for 30 minutes by officials at the match because he had a rainbow shirt on. There's a lot of discussion to go in. You know what? No, we're going to go into it. We're going to take a look into it because this is a big deal. So there was that. The beer was banned at the World Cup. Alcoholic beer will not be sold in and around the stadiums in Qatar. It was 2 days before the tournament began. They announced this, and one of the major sponsors was Budweiser. There were plans to wear a captain's armband with that supported LGBTQ plus. It had rainbow on it, and it had other designs. Several countries were planning to wear that, but that was announced that wouldn't happen. Yes, early this morning, several European teams have nixed their plans to wear the anti-discrimination captain's armbands at the World Cup after FIFA threatened them with sanctions. So follow along with me here. World Cup journalist detained. As I mentioned, Qatari authorities held longtime soccer writer Grant Wall for 30 minutes because of his rainbow LGBTQ shirt. There's a lot of controversy around that, and I understand that is why a bunch of people, I'll put the banner here, but why a lot of people aren't going to watch this year's World Cup, and I respect that. I respect that decision because there's a lot of controversy around how a good amount of people lost their lives actually creating the stadiums and putting time into, getting this World Cup. There was thoughts that there was corruption for Qatar to even get this World Cup in general, how they got the bid for it. How they had to put in millions and billions of dollars, and I think it was $20 billion to fund this World Cup. That's more than all the past World Cups combined. It's a big, so I understand if there are folks who aren't going to pay attention to it, and I respect that decision. But just, reading those last few headlines, it's tough. And so if there's any question about why it's controversial and why some people might not support it, just go over those past headlines. So wanted to touch on that because it felt wrong to sort of say what I did and then not go over those headlines.